Sundu says that Ousmane Sonko represents hope for many young people in Senegal. Looking back to 2012, the election of Macky Sall represented a similar hope for some people. Aminata Touré was by the president's side back then. She had run his successful presidential campaign, and in 2013, he appointed her as the country's second ever female prime minister. She went on to serve in other high-profile appointments in his government, but today the two aren't speaking. Earlier this year, she was removed from the parliament after switching political parties. Many people believe she was unhappy not to get appointed as Speaker of the House. But she says that her disagreement with the president was over whether he should be allowed to run again for a third term. And you'll hear she has big political ambitions of her own. I started by asking her what she thinks is behind the unrest on the streets.
Well, I think there is two phenomena going on. The first one is the predominance of the youth in terms of numbers. Let me recall that 70% of the population of Senegal is below the age of 35. Second, the elite, and particularly President Macky Sall, didn't factor that into his political views and decisions. Mr. Sonko, who is the leader of the opposition, his coalition came 50-50 almost at the parliamentarian election. That was a clear signal that the youth are divided clearly, and most of them are supporting Mr. Sonko. The two major accusations were not recognized by the judge. The judge decided that there was no rape, no death threat, but yet Mr. Sonko was sentenced to 2 years in prison on the accusation of corruption of the youth. They mean moral corruption of the youth. And then, of course, followers took the street, but not only his followers, but the youth.
One of the big issues alongside the sentencing of Ousmane Sonko that you explained is the question of whether Macky Sall should be allowed to run for a third time. It's something which I believe you've spoken out against.
You know, I used to be President Macky Sall, candidate Macky Sall, chief of staff for the 2012 elections. I ran his campaign defending the fact that the president, Abdoulaye Wade, should not run for a third time. We really sort of built our rhetorics on no to the third term of President Abdoulaye Wade. That was very clear, and there's many, many videos to witness that. How come a president who fought against a third term of President Abdoulaye Wade, who later on came and changed the constitution to make it very clear that no one can run more than 2 consecutive terms. And then, as we approach 2024 election, the discourse changed himself. He came forward and said, well, I mean, if you read it this way, I should be running. So this also is part of the fueling of the street and the anger.
Right. So you've fallen out with President Macky Sall. Are you in touch with him? Do you talk to him?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I'm in the opposition. I'm one of the founding member of what we call F24, which is a platform that put together civil society organization, opposition party. Myself, I have a political movement. And we have 4 points that we are putting forward the people. First of all is no to any third term of President Macky Sall, that he should not be selecting candidates through judicial processes. He should also free all these about 500 kids who are in jails, demonstrators mostly. And he should be organizing transparent, just, and fair election. We are going to take the street again, and hopefully President Macky Sall will come back to a reasonable position.
Right. Do you want his job?
Yes, I want his job. As a matter of fact, I declare that I will be a candidate. I am up to it. The expertise, yes.
So there are very many moving parts in this situation. There is you, there is Sonko, and other people in the opposition. But who says the opposition is the best alternative to Macky Sall?
No. We discuss about the constitution. The point is that his time is up, according to constitution. I have been his prime minister, so I know what is in his mind. So I think I'm geared up to whatever he want to continue. I can do that because I have the expertise. I think I have clean hands. I have not been caught into any corruption case. And that's why I think it's about also time that a woman rule Senegal.
How do you respond to people who say that you have a political axe to grind with him?
Well, I mean, they can think whatever they can think, but it would have been easier to go along, right?
It would have been easier for you to tag along with his position. Is that what you mean?
Yes, it would have been easier for me to just stay on, get a high position, well-paid job, which he offered to me, and I refused. And that was my sole decision, to stand by my conviction, by my beliefs, rather. I just stood by my belief. I could not have fought against a third term of President Abdoulaye Wade, and 11 years later down the road, stand in front of the Senegalese people, in front of my kids even, and telling them that Macky Sall is allowed to have a third term. And who is telling him that? Me, his former prime minister, his former minister of justice, the one who led all his political operations.
But given the ongoing distractions that's happening, someone with your capacity, with your convening ability, I know what sort of convening you can do, Aminata. Shouldn't you be calling people off the streets? Isn't this something that needs to happen now? Because the counter argument might be that you benefit from it in the long run, that there is something in it for you as a politician who is standing up against Macky Sall.
Myself, I work for the country. I think I had been offered many positions internationally that would have been, with less stress, that would have been as paid or better paid, and I refused them. I decided to stay in the country and work for my country.
So Abdul Karim Fofana, who you might know is a spokesperson of the government, says that the damage caused by the demonstrations has led to millions of dollars in losses and damage, and that it will ultimately impact the economy and Senegalese people. Are you concerned that it could be counterproductive if things continue the way they are at the moment?
But who's the responsible? That's his boss, the first responsible of this situation. That's his boss who want to run a third time while it's not possible according to constitution. Also, he want to violate the constitution. That's his boss harassing opposition leaders. That's his boss putting demonstrators in jail. So the responsibility is right there over the head of his own boss. Everybody's devastated by what's happening. People are losing their means of living. So, of course, everybody is devastated about it. But what's the way out? The way out, as I said, is President Macky Sall's first responsibility to step back and leave this idea of third term aside, let everybody run, and then he will be remembered as somebody who finally took a reasonable action by not running.